Hey everybody, this is Brian. Welcome to Chiller Night Live. We're from 8 p.m. Eastern Time until 9 o'clock. We'll talk about all things horror, science fiction, paranormal. You chiller maniacs pick the topic and we'll make a show out of it. By golly. Stephanie says, hey y'all. Hey Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Okay. I'm trying something a little different. Don't know if I should, but I am. Why is my preview paused? Okay, I have things set up a little differently because I enjoyed last week the way we, well, not the two-parter that we did, but I can now see the chats and everything right here. I know you don't. That doesn't help you visualize what I'm seeing, but. All right, Tracy says, scary time again. Thank you, Tracy, for joining us. Bonet says, hey, hello, Chiller Night crew, and Brian, and Miss Ava, Miss Stephanie. Hey, Bonet, thanks for joining us. Stephanie says, love the t-shirt. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's kind of different view I've got here for the chats, but I wanted to try it out again this week just to see how it works. I hope it works well. Hey folks, today is April 15th. Today is tax deadline day. Now that might not be cause for celebration, but Chiller Night Live sure is. And I hope everybody, got their taxes done, did your due diligence, and got that money shoveled out to the government so they can distribute it in a wise and accountable manner, as we know they'll do. But I digress. Bonet says, be brave and go ahead with it, Brian. You'll do fine. It'll all work out. Oh, thank you. I will indeed. All right, so Jason Bates, who will not be here tonight, or he probably won't be. He is still in the cornhole competitions, and his team is playing. And he wrote to me and said he wouldn't be able to make it tonight. So not looking forward to seeing him here because he said he wouldn't make it. But it was nice because this weekend he stopped out at my store, Chiller Night, at the Cranberry Mall. And it was nice. Stopped out for a little bit, showed him around the store a little bit more, and it was just good. It was nice of him to stop by and support in the store like he did. So very, very cool. We'll see if I don't think he'll be on tonight, but if he is, that's cool. SBC says, I don't pay taxes. Yeah, well, that's understandable. Tracy says, no tax here. That sounds nice. John says, it's Tuesday night. Do you know what you're watching? If you're here, you're watching Chiller Night Live. This is Crozak the Grand, and now it's time for something better than your taxes. Here's your host, Bryan Hogue. Thank you, Crozak the Grand. Yes, indeed. Better than taxes. Heck yeah. And John is giving the wavy emoji. Stephanie says, oh, wow. Go, Jason. Yeah, they did. They won some award tonight. So, most improved team or something like that. So, hey, that's great. Good on them. Bonin says, Tom Paisley, are you here? I miss that guy. Hopefully he's okay. I'm sure he is. He was with us last week. I'm sure everything's fine. But yes, hopefully he and all the others, and there's Al. Hi, everyone. Al says, hey, Al, thanks for joining us. Al, you are the werewolf guy, all right? So I always think of you when I think of werewolves. So Ava and I watched Werewolves over the weekend. With what's his name? Frank Grillo, I believe is the actor's name. He's one of those. Can't even really say he's a character actor. He plays sometimes the leading role in the movies, like in The Purge, one of the Purge movies he did, and of course this movie here he did. I remember him way back in the early 2000s when the series The Shield used to be on. He played one of the officers in that show. But we watched this one, kind of a different take on things. A supermoon turns billions of the Earth's inhabitants, humans, into werewolves. That happened, and then the event is about to repeat itself as the supermoon is once again going to show itself to the world. So it must be like a yearly thing, so they can have sequels. But yeah, there's PBR Street Gangs. Give me the wave. Give them the wave in return, as is customary. Hope Lasercorn, Paul, and Raymond can be here tonight. Bonehead says, yeah. And Renee. Don't know where Renee's at. D. Is D on here? Did I miss D? Oh, there's D. Ghoul evening, everyone. Now, the only... Ghoul evening, D. Thanks for joining us. The only bad thing about this is I have a smaller space in which to see the comments. I'm going to try this. Last week, they were actually off to the side. I wonder if I can set chat settings. Oh. If I do this, I wonder if I can do this without, I hate to do that. I'm just going to try to read it as it is. Stephanie says, Frank Grillo starred in a couple of Purge movies and a couple of Captain America. That's right, Captain America. He was Crossbones. So, yeah. SBC said, jokes aside, I actually get money back from my taxes. I deduct losses from real estate. Not bad. Not bad. Tracy says, Katy Perry went to space. That's right. She did, didn't she? Well, I didn't really follow that other than, what I've seen just in passing as I'm scrolling on social media. So I don't know. I didn't know until it happened, so I don't know what significance that is. But I suppose it's I don't know. I almost said it's almost like when William Shatner went, but no, it's not like that, because that was Captain Kirk. He was destined for the stars. But yeah. But it says, now where's Renee Cruz and Patsilvan? Patsilvan, I'm sure, will be here if she can. I know she keeps in touch with me pretty regularly with on Messenger for Chiller Night Theater's page. Bonehead says, hello to everyone here in this Chiller Night crew. Yins are all the best. Ah, thank you. Thank you, kind sir. And you all as well. PBR says, The Shield was a great show. How he got his just desserts so good. Yeah, The Shield. Vic Mackey. I remember that. Yeah, that really had you on the edge of your seat a lot of times. The Shield did. Tracy says, love watching space flights. Yeah, they're pretty neat. SBC says, shoot a moon, make werewolves happy. Yeah. Well, we watched it, and it was kind of almost like, with the werewolves being so plentiful, almost seemed like, because normally in a werewolf movie, other than, a few exceptions like The Howling or maybe some of the less horror movies and more action movies with werewolves in it, like Underworld, you might get, a pack. I almost said a herd. Wouldn't be right, would it? A pack of werewolves. In this one, you have, if the moon beams from the super moon hit you, and you're unprotected from whatever solution these scientists came up with, then you are going to turn into a werewolf. It's like a zombie bite. You're going to turn, and there's no way around it. So you have to have your you have to have your solution on whatever this stuff was. Kind of like a sunscreen, a moon screen. Let's see. But yeah, we checked that one out. John says, question, who has seen werewolves among us? It could have been better, but it did have the AT&T spokesperson in it. Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one. Uh, Enid Werewolf, Tracy says. Enid Werewolf. I don't know what that is. I didn't see it if that's the title of a movie. Let's see. Bonus says, well, I'll be brave and ask, what is the topic for tonight? I do not have a predetermined topic for tonight. I was going to have one because Ava had come up with. I wasn't going to have one. I declared it, but then Ava came up with this thing about the 9 most perfect horror movies. It was a list. I thought, oh, okay, let me go down the list. I got the number 1. We actually started watching it, and I think I watched like 15 minutes of it. Some movie I've never heard of. So I don't know. Many of these lists that are online, I don't share the same philosophy to, but they are kind of fun to go over. I didn't really, I was, after work today, I actually was working on a project, chiller related stuff. So I didn't get to, I didn't choose a topic. So feel free to BYOB, bring your own, or BYOT, bring your own topic, and interject that as you please. SBC said, do werewolves like pizza? I don't know. That's a good question. Who wouldn't like pizza? What doesn't like pizza? I would hope that werewolves do, because in my eyes, that would make them even more cool. And they're pretty cool. Werewolves cool, Tracy says. Yes. Teen Wolf. I remember seeing Teen Wolf back when it came out in the theater. I remember watching that at the Cranberry Mall's cinema. Yes. Yes, indeed. Pizza. Oh, man, I'm hungry now, but it says. Lon Chaney, Tracy says, yeah, Lon Chaney. Lon Chaney Jr. played the Wolfman. Wednesday. Oh, okay. Tracy says, Wednesday Addams, Enid Werewolf. Okay. Bonus says, Lon Chaney is the classic Wolfman for me. Yes. Werewolf, the series, Cop Wolves, Tracy says. Do you guys remember, there was a series back in, it was kind of a short-lived series back in the 80s called, I believe it was called Werewolf. I think it was just called Werewolf. And it had Chuck Connors in it, who played, remember him as the Rifleman. I don't remember anybody else in it. I remember him in it, but it was a weekly series. And I was so excited about this series when it came on. In fact, now I have to look and see. It'd probably be easier if I just look up Chuck Connors' filmology here. Chuck Connors, and see what year that was on. All right, movies and shows. Come on, would it even be listed? Ah, yeah, here it is. Werewolf from 1987 to 1988. But that was did you guys remember that? 1987 it came out. And I remember that because it came out at the same time as like Star Trek The Next Generation was coming out, and Freddy's Nightmares, something like that, was coming out. It had 29 episodes. Okay. Yeah, it came out on Fox. I remember that. 29 episodes of the TV series Werewolf. Huh. Interesting. But as far as the cast goes, I don't recognize anybody's name really, other than, well, Brian Thompson. He's kind of a, if you've seen him, he played like an alien guy on the X-Files. He's been in a lot of things, but you know him to see him, one of those character actors who gets his parts because of his size and his distinguishable appearance. Chuck Connors. But that was an interesting show. As we're talking about werewolves, or Werewolf in London. Tracy says, yes. Remember that? Oh, there's Paul. Werewolf aired on Fox, he says. There's Paul. Paul has joined us. We were asking about you earlier. Okay, Paul says, thanks, Bone. Good to be back. Oh, I missed. Okay, the #1 horror movie of all time is definitely Menace. Ah, Paul. That's the only bad thing about the new way I'm looking at the chat. I can pull up the other chat, but I'm afraid to do it right now. Uh, because I can only see 2 chats where normally I'd see a whole page. So I wonder if I can set this. Let's see. Bear with me for a moment. Nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Welcome back, Paul. I hope you're doing well. Bonehead says, yes. We all hope that you're doing well, and it's nice to see you back. Al says, oh, I love the show Werewolf. I figured you would. Do you remember that when it first came out, though? I remember the first night it was on, the first night it aired back in 1987. And I thought that was the coolest thing, because at that time, Fox was coming out with like like I said, Star Trek Next Generation and Werewolf, and like I thought all these shows were just really, really cool, and I was loving it. Paul says, thanks, up and down, Bone, but okay. Let's see, John says, Werewolves was one of the first shows that played on Fox. Right. It was The Fugitive, which had a cursed person was trying to get the one responsible for cursing him, and Chuck Connors was the one-eyed man who had been responsible for this and other murders. Yeah, I found the episodes on YouTube. You can find them on YouTube, and I started watching it probably about 2 years ago. I didn't get too far into it because there's all these other little projects that keep me from really doing too many things like that. Let's see. Bonus says, well, Paul, if you can, please come by on Tuesday night so we know you're okay. Paul says, I love you guys. All right. Well, it is good to see you. And now we need to see Renee. Renee's been missing for like 5 weeks, something like that. Let's see. PBR says, wasn't Thompson in the Stallone movie Cobra? Probably. I don't know. Could very well have been. Hey there, Stephanie. Tracy says, Michael Landon was a werewolf. Yeah, he was a teenage werewolf, wasn't he? Remember that? He was a teenage werewolf. And you had mentioned earlier about Werewolf in London. Now, there was Werewolf of London and American Werewolf in London. American Werewolf in London was, of course, the one where they were coming out with all the really cool state-of-the-art, back in the 80s, werewolf effects, where you had the latex bladders underneath the prosthetics, and they were pulsating, with the pneumatic controlled, the elongating snout and the fangs and everything, the hair growing by reversing the film and all that. But it was just so cool. It was so neat to see all that. Well, there was a bunch of that, at the time, because, they had Michael Jackson's Thriller video. They had The Howling, of course. They had the Werewolf. And I think that was done a lot more sparingly because of the cost involved in doing those effects. At least, you gotta pay the special effects people. But yeah, that was a neat time. American Werewolf in London, and then of course Werewolf of London, I think that was 1935, with Henry Hall playing the werewolf. Kind of a weird looking werewolf. He wore his clothes and his scarf and his hat. Kind of more on line with, now he was cursed because he was bitten or scratched by a werewolf up in the mountains of Tibet. He was a botanist or a paleobotanist or something, where he was looking for a certain wolfsbane, I think. But he was bitten. He was attacked and bitten by a werewolf. So he was cursed to turn into a werewolf as well. And but it was more like, it was a little bit more like almost like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of werewolf. Uh, not so much like the Lon Chaney Jr. one, because he had a little bit of his cognitive abilities, at least when he first started turning, and then toward the end, he was more concerned. He was becoming to the point to where he didn't want to hurt his beloved, so he's losing all of his humanity the more he turned. Let's see. Tracy says Highway to Heaven, I think. Oh, well, did they do that on Highway to Heaven? I know he was on Highway to Heaven. That would be funny if they did that as a tribute to, old school horror movie fans would know that he also played. In fact, that might have been his very first part. I don't know that for sure, but it was a very, very early one. I was a teenage werewolf. So that'd be funny if they did that on Highway to Heaven. Paul says, yes, I did, Bone. It was on Tubi. Oh, see the Manos sequel yet? He asked him. Bonehead asked him. Okay. See, I'm missing some of these. So Bonehead says, so what's your verdict on the sequel, Paul? Yeah, Paul. What'd you think of the sequel to Manos and the Hands of Fate? Al says the show Werewolf is on YouTube for free. Yeah. Yep. That's where I saw it a couple years ago. Paul says, Brian, are you going to restart the show in the summer? The Howling? The show in the summer, The Howling? The Howling? Boy, that'd be cool if I was allowed to play The Howling on Chiller Night Theater. But I don't know. There's been some thought about relaunching the show. It's something that I certainly, I am considering. So we'll have to see. I would love it. I do miss it. It's just that I'm building, like if you had visited the haunted house, for those who live close enough to where you could have visited, you'd see there was an area in the back. I wonder if I have any pictures at all. Yeah, right here. This area in the back is kind of a large area where you can, after you exit the haunted house, or at least before you go back up front, you can get your photo op there. Well, this whole area is a area that I've had. I had a birthday party in there with like almost 30 people. So it's got a bit of size in it. Well, that's all getting filled in with more haunt and an extra escape room. So I don't know at what point the new escape room will be ready, but the current ones are The Witching Hour and Zombie Outbreak. So you have 1 hour to try to solve all the clues and puzzles and escape either Zombie Outbreak or The Witching Hour. Those are the current ones. If you'd like to try those, you can call 814-209-8214 or book online at chillernight.com. There's where you'd go. All right, so, but Chiller Night Theater, you can still watch episodes of Chiller Night Theater every Saturday night on Stream TV. You can see the logo, and you can see where to go to see that. Streammedia.tv. Streammedia.tv every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Stream TV is playing 3-4 movies, Chiller Night Theater episodes back to back. So that's pretty cool. They're continuing with that. They've been doing that for since October of 2017. So that's great. It'd be neat if we could get some some new episodes at some point. So that'd be cool. I am thinking about it. I mean, I would like to do it. Not sure yet if I can, but it is something that I would really like to do. Tracy says Transformations. Is that a movie title, Tracy? I have not seen that one. I don't believe I have. But it says, Brian, please give a big hello to Miss Glam Fangs and let her know we all miss her, please. All right. Glam, if you are watching this at a later time, we do miss you, and it's too bad that you can't join us live when we're doing this live, as well as David and Diane Silvio. Is same thing. I know on Tuesday nights, not a good time for everybody. It just isn't. It was a lot of fun when this was on Saturday nights, but I can't say it will never be on Saturday nights again. But right now, this is how we have to do it. Before, of course, if you're kind of new in here, maybe you don't know, maybe you haven't been with us that long. But we used to do this show. It was actually the Chiller Night Live pre-show. And we ran from 8 until 9. And then at 9 o'clock, Chiller Night Theater began. So it was kind of cool because you could watch the show, the pre-show, and then at 9 o'clock, watch Chiller Night Theater. So all night long. It's kind of cool. I liked it. Paul says, all 5 parts of The Howling. That would be awesome. I wish I could. I wish I could. If they become public domain, that's when I'll get them. John says, Brian Thompson was in Cobra, and he was the leader of the group of the killers. He was called the Night Slasher, and Sylvester Stallone's character did him in. Well, that's because if he was on Cobra, he was a disease, and Cobra's the cure. All right, that almost sounded a little bit like Arnold. All right, so yes, I saw that movie one time when it first came out. I remember very little about it. Crime is a disease. I am the cure. Wasn't that it? The poster there. Tracy says, love the lady on the Howling newscaster. Yeah. Don't forget Silver Bullet. That's right, Silver Bullet. The movie, of course, was inspired by the Stephen King novel, Silver Bullet. That movie takes a lot of a lot of harassment, I think, but I enjoyed it. I think that's a fun one to watch. I do like Silver Bullet. She was great, Tracy, Paul says. Bonus says, yeah, Paul, I forgot about that one. It's my third favorite werewolf movie. SBC says, pizza is moon-shaped. You're right. That is true. Yeah, Marianne. Hey, Marianne, neighbor. Replying to Jack Shadow's House of Terror. Jack Shadow's House of Terror. Good evening. Hey, Marianne. Thanks for joining us. I hope all is well. I saw you yesterday. I was out mowing the ground, the first mow of the year. And but every time I looked over to see if I was going to wave, but you weren't looking when I was looking. So, but I'll wave now. So hope all is well. Brad says it's WrestleMania week. Yeah, that's right. That's coming up. You told us last week that it's Easter weekend. Have they ever done that before? Or maybe I asked that last week. It's just because it's a little different. I am very excited about that, but not as excited about Dracula and Frankenstein coming to the public domain in 2027. Well, there's a lot to be excited about there, Brad, I'll tell you. It was very cool, Bone. What the sequel? The Mano sequel? What are your thoughts on that, Paul? Bone. Does it live up to the first one? Does it do it justice? If there is such a thing. Bono says, I'm thinking pizza might be a good idea for dinner tonight. I don't know why. Yeah, it's highly endorsed amongst this crowd. Silver Bullet, cool, speedy wheelchair, Tracy says. Yeah. Stephanie says, last Friday my mom and I watched Halloween 4 for movie night. Oh, neat. That sounds fun. PBR says, talk about SF changing. Anyone remember the TV show Manimal? Yeah, I remember that one. Yes, I do. Ava remembers that one too, because we've both mentioned that before. Typo, I mean Chiller Night, Paul says. Oop, I missed it. I missed it. Now I can't go back up. Not too far. It's weird. Like I said, I can only see like two. I don't think I'm gonna go with this again next week. Pastor Bad, Tracy says, yeah. Let's see. Bonuses. I think I've actually watched some of the werewolf episodes. Bonuses. There you go, Miss Stephanie. Hope you and your mom are doing well. Yes. Tracy says, the bats I like eat bugs. The bats I like, they eat bugs. Yeah. I tried to, oh man, I am so far behind. I need to catch up. I didn't realize I was this behind here. Marianne says, I'm so glad we did the escape room with Gary. He really enjoyed it. Oh, I am too. And I know he enjoyed the haunts and stuff, and that was I am glad as well that he got to go through that. I'm glad you guys got to come out. Great haunted house picture there, Brian. Thank you, Benhead. That tells me how far behind I am. Yeah, I need to bump this up a little bit. Let me move let me get up here a little bit. All right, now back up just a little bit. So if I've missed your comments, I am sorry. I am seeing that I'm falling really far behind here. Paul says, Manos Part 3, the remake of Manos, is awesome. What? They have a Part 3? This is getting out of control, Paul. Tracy says, Manimal loved it. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Brett says, hi, Brian. Hey, Brett, thanks for joining us. How are things at the... Well, I don't know if you're working tonight, but if you are, how are things at the Cranberry Mall? Tracy says, Panther, snake, bird, more. What else did he turn into? Manimal. Stephanie says, the last part of Silver Bullet scared the daylights out of me. Yeah. Yeah, SBC says, Paul Lynch Part 3? I have to watch this. Yeah, that's news to me. Are you serious? Okay. Oh, he says it's not out yet. I hope soon. Part 3, I mean. SBC says, great, but a lot of work. Okay, now I can back up a little bit. I think I'm all caught up. Marianne says, hi. Hello. Or did somebody else say hi? Al says, Brian, I'm hoping that this summer to visit your store and meet you in person. It's about time Jack and the Dark Soul get to meet. Yeah, let me know. Let me know. Hopefully it's not too far for you. Trying to remember where about you are. Are you in the middle of the state, maybe? I don't know. I am over in the western part of the state. Some of you may know. I'm, if you're kind of looking at Erie and Pittsburgh, I'm about right in the middle. So, PBR says, wasn't Jack Nicholson in some kind of bad werewolf movie? He was. It was called Wolf. I did see that. I saw that at the theaters when it came out in the 90s. Had 22-mile winds here, Tracy said. We had some really strong ones here, too. SBC says, I just had an idea. How about a reverse escape room where you have to prevent zombies from entering by solving puzzles, finding things like hammer and nails? Huh? There you go. Yeah. The prevention room. I don't know. Yeah. Let's see here. Brett says, Bunny. They need to do a were bunny. A were bunny. Yeah. Yeah, with fangs like this. Yeah, a were bunny. What would be the cool noise? A werewolf has the howling of the moon that sends chills up and down your spine upon hearing that at night. What would be the were bunny's sound? I don't know that they would really have one unless they were being attacked, and I can't stand that sound. I used to live out in the woods. Out in the wooded area where, it's a horrible sound. Brad says, so how about that Chiller Night Tuesday movies this summer, Brian? Unless you are really busy with building the haunt at the Chiller store. It's still something I'd like to do. I'm definitely considering it. I'll have to let you know a little bit more definitively when, as I get really into probably about the middle of the projects. I say projects because I'm working on several right now. So we'll see how it goes. If it did start again, I don't know. It'd likely be probably late summer. I'll just give myself a little bit of buffer there, a little wiggle room. So we'll see. I'll announce it. I'll be sure to announce it once I know for sure if I think I can swing that or not. Brett says, I know you can get really busy with that. Yeah. SBC says, how about I read that. Yeah. Tracy says, Wolf, yes, with the Jack Nicholson. How about a Manos escape room, Paul says. I don't know. Would anybody outside this group really know what that is? Or would everybody come and visit it? Get your plane tickets, folks. We're opening up a Manos escape room. SBC says, Silver Bullet was a nice one. Yeah, it was. Bunnet says, I saw Wolf. Wasn't Michelle Pfeiffer in that too? Yeah, her and James Spader, I believe. If I remember right. Been a while. And I only saw it the one time. East side of PA. Al says, yeah, that's what okay. Who am I thinking? Oh, I'm thinking of Lasercorn. Lasercorn was about in the middle, Penn State area, I believe. Tracy said, where is Lasercorn? He popped in. He was gone for like months. Then he popped in one night. Pow. And then he left us again, so we haven't seen him. Tracy says, Night of the Living Zombies. Oh. Can't get enough of zombies. Very cool. Paul says, there were were bunny noises that would be, what up, Doc? Yeah. I don't know how terrifying that would be, but yeah, all right. But it says, a were bunny. That sounds like something Monty Python would come up with, LOL. Yeah. Again, with the fangs like this. Undead and Loving It. Rabies bunnies. Tracy said to both of those comments. Summerween, Stephanie says. Summerween instead of Halloween. Brad says, I mean, when you have time, Brian. Yep. I'm getting there. I'm working on it. Working on my projects. Quicker I get them done, quicker I can tell if I have the extra time to be able to do that for this year. Be nice. Pat Savan. Hey, Patty, thanks for joining us. There's Pat. Somebody was asking about Patty. Night of the Lupus, giant man-eating bunnies. That's right. You brought that up before. That's been brought up here before. So I have never seen that. SPC says, what happens when a vampire bites a werewolf? Vamp wolf or werepire? That's a good question. That's a very good question. Interesting. And then Tracy brought up zombies too. So did you ever wonder about that? Did you ever wonder about that? I wonder if they've done any movies that have explored that. Like if a zombie bites a vampire, what happens? Who gets it? They both get some backlash from that, or a werewolf and a vampire, as was the example. I don't know. I don't know. Interesting. It would be a smash hit, Bry. What, Summerween? Stephanie's idea about Halloween in the summer? Or the new, or new episodes of Children Night Theater. Yeah, hey, either way. Let's see. Laser blast, Tracy says. But it says, that's a good idea, Miss Stephanie. A Summerween celebration. I really like it. John says, Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory was a fairly good movie. It gives us a few curves as to who is the real werewolf. Interesting. SBC says zombie werewolves. Zombie werewolves. Is that a movie, or is that the outcome of the zombie being bitten by, or a werewolf being bitten by a zombie? Or a werewolf biting a zombie? Who the heck gets infected here? Who wins? Which curse overrides the other? Let's see. Brad says WrestleMania is now a week-long convention in this day and age. And what an appropriate city to have them in Las Vegas. Yeah, that's what wrestling reminds me of anymore, is a Vegas show. And yeah, it probably is very appropriate. Now, I don't think that's the first time they've had WrestleMania in Las Vegas, although I could be wrong. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but yeah, it is kind of a suitable location for it. And I know that the fans of wrestling today enjoy it the way it is. That's I can't wrap my mind around, because I'm so old school when it comes to wrestling. I'm talking 70s, early 80s. I stopped watching wrestling before Hulk Hogan became a face, a good guy. Okay, for those you who are non-familiar with the wrestling vernacular. But I was really old school. And so that's the wrestling I grew up with. Stephanie says, I remember seeing Underworld about werewolf vampire thing, calling it hybrid. Did they have something? I watched the first Underworld movie, but I'll be honest, I don't remember anything about it. I just don't. Because there are horror movies, and then there are like action movies or sci-fi that contain like a werewolf or vampires. That's not really a true horror, but yet it has characters from there. I don't know. Be interesting to see. Oh, the Escape Room, Paul says, would be a smash hit. Yeah, that would be the one that about keeping the zombies out. Jason says, "There's Jason. All right. I had mentioned you earlier in the show about you stopping out Saturday and visiting me, and always appreciate your visit and your support." Jason says, a very late ghoul evening to you all. Just got back from my latest cornhole until the fall. All right. Well, we hope you had a good time, and thanks for joining us here. Good to see you stopped. Good to see you made it. PBR says, how about this for an idea? All right. You have to escape the haunted house in a certain amount of time, or you're forced to watch Manos. Oh, you know how much money I would go through with people, replacing the doors because people just looking 5 seconds left. Yeah, screw this. I'm going right through that door. Be a lot of wear and tear. So, yeah. Neat idea though. But it says, I agree with you, Brian. Either way it'd work. SPC says, I know what you did last winter. Christmas horror version of I know what you did last summer would be a funny idea. Yeah, especially if Santa Claus was the one saying it. I know what you did last winter. Well, yeah, of course. You're watching all the time. He can do that. So, yeah, I wonder if anyone's thought of, oh, geez, or another Christmas horror movie. That would be kind of cool, though. It would fit, a Santa, gets kicked in the head with a reindeer and he becomes unstable Santa. Brad says, besides WWE, other wrestling companies are having events all around Vegas this week. This is a wrestling fan's dream. Sorry, folks. I got up super, super early, as I do. So, but still, despite all that, it's never a good sign when the host starts yawning. Paul says, the Werewolf of Washington. Yeah, the Werewolf of Washington. We played that on Chilla Night Theater. We had an episode with that. Tracy said, Bud Lieu had a werewolf, I think. They did with Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. And I don't know if they had another one in addition to that. I know they had one where they meet the Mummy, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the Invisible Man. I believe they had all that. But yeah, it was kind of cool because Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, Bela Lugosi Dracula, and Glenn Strange playing Frankenstein's monster, and then Lon Chaney Jr. revised his role as Larry Talbot, the Wolfman. And the weird thing is, they never explained the last movie that he had been in before this, Larry Talbot. The character turns into the Wolfman, Universal's, is he was cured in the House of Dracula, Universal's House of Dracula. He became cured of his lycanthropy, his condition where he turns into a werewolf. And then, no explanation given. He is next seen on Abbott and Costello, Meet Frankenstein. Not saying that those are necessarily, canon, the official storyline, but they did make it. But I just thought that was interesting. Jason says, I visited Brian's store this week, and I must say Brian has phenomenal talent. Very impressive. Oh, thank you, Jason. Make sure you check out the haunted house this October. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very much. SBC says, zombie werewolves, just an idea of mine. I like it. I like it. Scared stiff, Tracy says. I don't think I saw that one. PBR says, I really look forward to Chiller Night pre-show. It was a big part of my Saturday. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Patty says, PBR, I have already watched Manos twice. Can I be exempt? Really? Really? Have you really? I could agree with you more, PBR, Paul says. But it says, PBR Street Gang. Yes, Miss Glamfangs really misses the Saturday night show. Jennifer. Hey, thanks for joining us, Jennifer. It gives a little smiley face and peace sign emojis, heart and rose. Well, thanks for joining us. Tracy says, Chud. What are these? Are these your, favorite movies? Is that what you're doing? But, yeah, some of those Some of those I recognize, Tracy. Of course, a Chud, I recognize that. And some of the titles I don't really recognize. Paul says, it got me through a lot of bad things. Manos, or the Saturday night show. Let's see. Oh, Saturday night, yeah, the Chilling Night pre-show. D says, I love the Underworld movies. I've only seen the first one, and I saw it back when it first came out. So whenever that was, it might have been like the mid-2000s, I'm guessing, but I don't remember much about it. Tracy says, Scared Stiff, that sounds like a film for adults. SBC says, yep, could be, I don't know. I haven't seen it. Paul says, Manos Escape Room. Manos Escape Room. Yeah, I have a feeling there'll be a lot of people escaping. Fred says, last time it was WrestleMania 9 at Las Vegas in 1993 at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. It was the first WrestleMania held entirely outdoors. Oh yeah, is that right? 1993. That's pretty cool. The Hills Have Eyes, Tracy says. All right, another movie title. I have heard and seen that one. PBR says, you remember the Von Erich family? Yeah, I remember that. Kevin Von Erich and those guys. That was big in wrestling back in the day. It sure was. Stephanie says, in Underworld, it showed a vampire biting a werewolf. Okay. And another vampire, a female, was revealed to be apparently pregnant by her werewolf husband before he killed her. Well, why would he do that? All right. Well, because he's a vampire, I guess, and they're not nice. They're just not nice. Pregnant. By her werewolf husband. Okay. Well, they're not nice either. So they just got to get along. They just got to find a way to get along. That's just it. Bunny says, Paul, please always remember and never forget that the Chiller Night crew is always here for you to help you through the bad times. Yes. Paul says, love you, Bone. Thanks. That is cool. You know, I don't know what first brings people here. You know, I guess the love, the interest in horror movies, or maybe even sci-fi, those crazy UFO invasion movies, the Chiller movies. All right. But yeah, we've been doing this so long. You know, there's a I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. We got a little community here. It's not viral by any means, you know, but we get a couple hundred views between the pages. Not much, but you know, if you like it here, you're certainly welcome every Tuesday night from 8 to 9. Sometimes we have no topic at all, like tonight. We just, you guys picked a topic and we're just running with it. Or sometimes we do have a topic picked out. I'm going to go without picking a topic for a little while, because honestly, I'm just not going to really have too much time for a while to prepare for the show, to be quite honest. So we'll do a show. Don't get me wrong. We'll do a show. But preparing for the show is an entirely different matter. But just like tonight, we didn't prepare for it, but we're doing pretty good, I think. Most of the shows are like this. We don't prepare for most of them, but they are kind of fun either way. All right. Good one, SBC, although it might be a hard one to watch. Oh, you guys. Tracy says, me, MASH. What? I remember the show MASH. I remember the monster MASH. Let's see. Patty says, there's an evil Santa in the Hebrew Hammer movie. What? The Hebrew Hammer movie. I've never heard of that. Evil Santas. Santa goes psycho, Tracy says. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Naughty or nice? Brian says, made it. Hey, Brian. Brian. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we're yeah. Well, we are glad you're here. We're not going to be here much longer, but we're glad to see you. You made it. We're just talking, kind of just rambling about anything, nothing in particular. And one of the topics was werewolves that we were just discussing. Another was it had come up if a vampire bites a werewolf or vice versa, which turns into what? And then, just for the heck of it, throw in a zombie into that equation. I don't know the answer to that. I suppose it all depends on who's writing the story. Who's writing the movie? Let's see. Paul says, gotta go. Family, see you next. Same bat time, same bat channel. Love you, and it's great to be back. All right, Paul, thanks for joining us. What a pleasant surprise tonight. Tracy says, seen a Batman before Batman. Seen a Batman before Batman. All right. I'm trying to see if I'm right. Seen a Batman before Batman. Okay. I've seen Manos on Elvira's movie Macabre, Stephanie says. Oh, I bet she had a lot of fun with that one. Patty says, stay safe all. Got to straighten up the Minecraft display. All right, Patty, thanks for joining us. Let's see. Tracy said, chicken jockey in Minecraft, maybe. I've never played that, so I don't know what... I'm aware of Minecraft. I'm aware because, I think the boys used to play that, but I definitely don't know what chicken jockey is. Jack Black, Tracy says. Oh, that's right. They have a movie coming out now, or maybe it is out now. Bonus says, before everyone else takes off, thanks to Audience for a great show and a wonderful Tuesday night. Ah, thank you, Bonehead. And thank you guys again for the interaction, the participation. It goes so quick. Like right now, it is like I have a minute or 30 seconds left. So, I mean, it is appreciated. So I'm glad you guys have fun. I have fun doing it. Dee says, to me, they all lean a little more sci-fi, but love them hybrids. Yeah. I agree. A little bit more of a sci-fi action movie that just has a vampire or werewolf in them, but entertaining nonetheless. We'll watch more, Tracy says. All right. Well, we appreciate that. Stephanie says, sorry, Brian. I mean, her father killed her in Underworld. Oh, yeah. No, I think I caught on at the tail end of that. I was thinking of it wrong, and then I said, oh, okay, that was a werewolf, not a vampire husband. All right. Let's see, oh wow, I am so far behind again. How's this happen? Tracy says, MASH 4077. Yep, I remember that show. I enjoyed that. John says, you have been entertained by Chiller Night Live, hosted by Bryan Hogue, and by those who like and watch the show. This is Crozak the Grand reminding you to enjoy the Easter Passover holiday weekend with your family and friends. Until next week, stay chilled and keep through. That's right. I won't see any of you before Easter Sunday. So have a very happy and blessed Easter, all of you who celebrate Easter. And if you don't, have a fantastic weekend nonetheless. And Bonus says, well, to quote the immortal Dave Allen, good night, thank you, and may your God go with you. Thanks again, everyone. Yes. Good night, everyone. Everyone's saying their goodbyes, and I will follow that in suit and say good night, everybody. Thanks for joining me and each other for another episode of Chiller Night Live. Have a good night. Have a good Chiller Night. We'll see you next week.